We as an organization, we laugh and we are saddened by the fact that our 12 plus books are our least selling books of the three. We have, the age 3 to 7, we have the 8 to 11 and the 12 plus, but that is because so many parents think they're done with these conversations. And it's really sad because we're like, this is where the good stuff comes in. This is where we're not just talking about puberty and anatomy. This is where we get to talk about the amazingness about sex. This is where we can really share with a child who understands emotional intimacy. We can talk about how sex can be this connecting, bonding, fun experience. It's where we can talk about orgasm. I mean, you can talk about it with a younger child, but honestly, that 12 plus range, they really have a better understanding. They can understand concepts that maybe they haven't experienced, but a little bit better, but they can kind of see that bigger picture where you can talk about body image a little bit more, also with a younger age, but you can talk about the effects of body image. You can talk about what happens when we mix alcohol with sex. You can talk about the positive and the negative aspects of sex. So that is a time for just so many different topics. One of the big topics that we focus on in the book is consent. We need to, our kids, our boys and our girls need to have a very clear understanding. What is consent? What does it mean when I've given consent? What does it mean when I have understood that somebody else has given their consent? So that's a big topic that there's a lot of confusion for teenagers, especially with people and kids, especially mixing alcohol and drugs with sex. That is a topic, and that is, again, this has been a year that I have talked about that more than ever with my kids because there has been so many news stories about college rape and the lack of enforcing laws and the lack of putting people not going to jail for their crimes. And so we've talked about that a lot, but we talk again about predators. We talk again about the double standard. We talk about sexting and social media even more critically, because now your kids are going to be able to come back to you. They will have stories. They will have this. Now it's not just you sharing the stories from what you've seen on the news. It's them sharing the stories of what's going on at school. Again, my daughter is a sophomore. I mean, it was already last year as a freshman. Several of her girlfriends from different schools, the pressure was on to send naked or near nude photos. And to me, that's a very young age. Yes. To basically be asked for child pornography, to create your own child pornography. But it is happening more and more. And we find the research is showing that when one girl in a group starts, the other girls tend to follow. So that is, again, why it is so critical to talk about what are the effects. Our lives are being lived so much in that digital realm, especially our teenagers, that they have got to understand what it means when they put stuff out on social media, whether that's a healthy a social media that you use. Maybe it's Instagram, maybe it's Facebook, these things that can be so innocent, but that also can be a platform not just for sexual activity, but for bullying. So helping them, understand that picture. And that is something that, like I said, we have had to revisit many, many times in our family. And when I talk with other parents, every parent has a story of where they dropped the ball. This is something that's so new for us, those of us who have teenagers. It's happening so quickly that this is one I would say you cannot talk enough about. You cannot talk enough about what they are doing on their phones, and you cannot know enough about what's going on in their lives, that you should know who their friends are socially, that you should know what their habits, you should know what types of texts, even if you're not reading every single text, you should know what type of digital citizen your child is. What is the energy they're giving out? What are their friends saying back to them, either in text or on social media, so that you have an understanding of what is going on in their lives. And obviously, in all three of the books, we have discussions of pornography, even for that 3 to 7, that 8 to 11, and that 12 plus. But all three of those are critical in all three of those age groups, is to talk about the dangers of pornography. Like I said before, the average age of exposure is 11. A lot of kids in that middle school, that is when it's on the bus, it's at a friend's phone, it's on their own phone. And most people think, oh, I put a filter on, so I'm done with that conversation. No, everybody I know has a filter, and everybody I know, their child has still been exposed somewhere. Your child is going to be exposed. Your child is going to be curious, and we need to address that, helping them understand that their curiosity is very natural and very normal, but that there is an industry that is targeting them, that wants their dollars, wants them to become addicted, wants them to get into this so that they have future clients for the next 100 years, right? They are targeting our kids with, whether they're, through different pop-ups, through doing, our kids are going to be
everywhere.
exposed at so many different places. That's a conversation that goes hand in hand with what they're doing on social media and on their phones to keep that dialogue going.